months, as you'll know by now, a gunman entered a school in Texas and killed at least 18 children and 2 adults.
And while we can add our prayers for the dead, there is nothing that can ever be said that can approach the immeasurable grief of those families.
It was a somber night in late-night television as Stephen Colbert and James Corden emotionally addressed the mass shooting in Uvalde, Texas that left 19 kids and 2 adults dead.
I just want to let you know, shortly before I came out here tonight, we learned of the unspeakable shooting in Uvalde, Texas today.
Both hosts get completely choked up. Stephen, during his monologue, urging viewers to send their prayers.
And while we can add our prayers for the dead, there is nothing that can ever be said that can approach the immeasurable grief of those families. But while we're at it, let's pray this time our leaders show a modicum of courage in trying to prevent this from ever happening again.
And hoping for change, he gives a clear and concise message.
But prayers won't end this. Voting might. So when you vote, ask yourself this question: who, running for office, has publicly stated that they're willing to do anything and everything in their power to protect your children from the criminally insane number of guns in America?
Meanwhile, James spends the entirety of his show's opening monologue nearly in tears and reveals the news broke just moments after they finished filming the show. James, a parent to 3 little ones, says the tragedy is unfathomable.
As a father, I can't imagine the horror of that phone call. When I dropped my kids off at school this morning and kissed them goodbye, it doesn't cross your mind that that could ever be the last goodbye. And the thought of that phone call, that your child is the victim in a mass shooting, is beyond comprehension as a human being.
Then he shares his grief for the families who suffered devastating losses and slams America's backward gun laws. James says that despite America being on the forefront of medicine, of technology, of innovation, there's work to be done with gun control.
This year there have been no school shootings in England. This year there have been no school shootings in Japan. This year there have been no school shootings in Australia. This year there have been 27 school shootings in America and 212 mass shootings, and we are just 5 months into the year.
And James admits he won't be surprised by more tragedies if no action is taken.
So just as I stood here in this studio last week and I talked about a mass shooting at a grocery store in Buffalo, today, heartbreakingly, it is in an elementary school in Texas. And I'll probably be stood here talking again in another week or 2 about another place. I hold out hope that this country will eventually wake up and change this senseless gun culture. While my heart simply goes out to every single person in Texas tonight.